who comes on the show regularly, and Rob Gronkowski, they got together to chop up Gerard Mayo and the Patriots on Edelman's podcast called Games with Names. And here's what they said about why Gerard Mayo was built to be a head coach.
Gerard Mayo was just a phenomenon on the football field with lining everyone up, and then also in the meeting rooms as well. He knew where every player needed to be during any situation that occurred on the defensive side of the ball. I mean, he knew how to read offenses. He knew when to call out plays, and he was always correct when he called a play out, or else he was just making the whole defense just aware when that play was going to be called. He was just always alert, and you could always tell that that was going to translate into the next phase of his life.
Okay, sounds very, very positive. Gerard Mayo, who knows? Maybe he's the next Belichick. Vegas disagrees. Have you guys seen the Patriots win total? 4.5. Lowest in the league, below the Carolina Panthers and below the Denver Broncos. The Patriots are going to be really hot doo-doo this year, folks. I'm sorry to be harsh. Here's the reality. You don't want to follow a legend, okay? It is extremely difficult. Bill Belichick, I don't think there's any argument against him being the most successful, greatest coach in NFL history. I just quickly glanced at a couple guys who were also in that legendary category and left, and how the teams fared afterwards. Let's start with Don Shula, who was a pretty damn good coach in Miami, undefeated Dolphins, blah, blah, blah. So he left in 1995. The Miami Dolphins, since Shula left, have 3 playoff wins. You know, I was really good at math when I was a kid, not so much now, but that's almost 30 years, 3 playoff wins. Losing Shula, have not been able to find your slam dunk coach. Maybe McDaniel's the guy. Well, I like McDaniel. He's a good coach. But replacing a legend, extremely difficult. I found another one. This guy by the name of Joe Gibbs. Now, you guys, hardcore listeners of this show, my podcast, know I grew up in Northern Virginia. I was born in New York, but you know, the family moved because my dad got a job. And the Washington, at the time, Redskins were everything in D.C. And Jason, who likes to go against the grain, contrarian Jason, I did not like Washington. And they had this coach named Joe Gibbs who was just freaking good. And they were always in contention, winning Super Bowls. And, you know, I had to be there like, oh, go Jets, you know, and the Washington's racking up 10, 11, 12 wins. And I think they won the Super Bowl 55-10 or something like that. Of course, I wasn't betting at the time, but I was telling everybody, Denver's going to beat Washington. I was way off. I just didn't like Washington. Joe Gibbs was a beast. You guys want to know how many playoff wins Washington has since Joe Gibbs left? Joe Gibbs left. Last 25 years, they have 1 playoff win since Joe Gibbs left. A legend, a top 6 coach in the history of football. It's difficult to keep that ball rolling when you lose a legend. The institutional knowledge that walked out the door when Bill Belichick left, or was shoved out, whichever storyline you prefer. It went out, and it's not coming back. And I looked at the depth chart, folks. Listen, you guys know I like Drake May leading up to the draft. I like Drake May a lot. By all accounts, it's going to be Jacoby Brissett's team this year. That's not a good thing. Like, Jacoby Brissett is a solid backup. As a starter with no weapons and a questionable offensive line, it's bleak. Even the defense, which people are excited about, Belichick was a defensive guy. Do you think the defense is going to stay up there? Now, yards per play, they were 3rd defensively. That's very good. But you dug in closer to the numbers and some of the DVOA numbers, which take into account every play, and they were middle of the pack with the legend Belichick. There's no world where the Patriots and Mayo are successful this year. None. Not even if Drake May turns into freaking C.J. Stroud. It's just not happening. Maybe in a couple years, Mayo can get through these tough ones and they can bounce back. But, folks, I'm looking at the schedule. You know, I know Joe Burrow starts off slow. They're not losing to the Bengals. Seattle, I guess it could be a win. We'll see. I don't know. Jets, that's a loss. Niners, that's a loss. Miami gets to go to New England. That's a loss. Houston was in the playoffs. Jacksonville's a potential playoff team. Jets, we're looking at 1-7 out of the gate for Gerard Mayo. And then, this guy doesn't know what he's doing. He was a great player. He was smart. He was the Tom Brady of the defense. Good luck, Gerard Mayo. Massive uphill climb. Let's go to Alex Curry with the news.
No. Turn on the news.
think this was partially done because LeBron's son, Bronny James, was going to go in the second round. Everybody knew he was going to go 55. There were some fun scenarios where someone else tries to steal him, but that wasn't really going to happen. We'll get to the Rich Paul scaring teams later in the show. But I want to kind of focus on Bronny going 55, the Lakers, LeBron, all that fun stuff, because this is a great story. Father-son duo teaming up in the NBA. How can you not love it? Yet here we are, the usual suspects, the haters, the naysayers. Oh, this is nepotism. How can this happen? Yeah, these same jabronis, these meatballs. Where were they when Giannis was getting his brother on the Bucks? Where were they when my Knicks, J.R. Smith, was on the Knicks? J.R. Smith's like, hey, can we get my brother on the team? He joined the team. This nepotism happens in sports. It happens in business. It happens in entertainment, music, movies. It happens in coaching, in college basketball. Hey, by the way, guys, is Andy Reid's son, was he qualified to be a position coach in the NFL? You can go look up his resume. How was he a position coach? This happens everywhere. I don't know why people are so worked up about LeBron and Bronny. It seems a little bit excessive. And when you listen to Rob Pelinka talk about the Bronny decision, it was a no-brainer. Here's Rob Pelinka last night.
In the history of the NBA, there's never been a father and a son that have shared an NBA basketball court. And that feels like something that could be magical. And we know and have to respect, of course, that LeBron has a decision about his opt-out. But if it worked out that he was on our team next season, NBA history could be made. And NBA history should be made in a Lakers uniform.
I like that. That's nice. I like Rob Pelinka's sentiment. Now, I should turn back the clock just a little bit for my favorite nepotism story of all time. You guys know I'm a hardcore college hoops fan. I talked about it yesterday. So there was this guy named Danny Manning back in the day who was the best recruit in the country. I mean, he was phenomenal, and he was down to Kansas and North Carolina. So the Kansas coach at the time was Larry Brown, okay? Danny Manning, awesome recruit. His father had been a truck driver for 4 years. This was written about in the New York Times. You can look it up. His dad was a truck driver. So what did Larry Brown do? He went and hired Danny Manning's dad as an assistant coach. Hey, come on the staff in Kansas. And what would you know, a couple days later, Danny Manning picked Kansas. Kind of worked out for the Jayhawks, huh? Danny Manning, Danny and the Miracles led Kansas to an awesome title. And I vividly remember that championship because I'm a college basketball nerd. This kind of thing happens. Nepotism's going to happen. Just, it's not the end of the world. There's no reason that LeBron shouldn't get what he wants, which brings me to LeBron and what I think is an incredible theory. It was kind of poo-pooed in the staff meeting. I don't know how it'll go over now. So let's take it all into consideration here, okay? So LeBron can opt out. He can change teams. He can go anywhere. There was the small veiled threat that I don't think anybody took seriously, but it was out there. Hey, if Bronny's drafted by Utah, maybe I'll go to Utah or Phoenix. And remember, Golden State went after LeBron back at the trade deadline in, I think, February. Okay? So take all of it into account and hear me out. A magician never shows his tricks, so I don't expect LeBron to ever confirm any of this. But what's to say LeBron didn't go to the Lakers and say, hey, guys, I got this amazing podcasting partner. You may know him. His name is J.J. Redick. He'd make a phenomenal coach. Wait till he gets to the whiteboard. He's going to wow you. Fine, LeBron, we'll take a look at Redick. And, oh, by the way, guys, could you do me a solid and draft my son at 55? That would be awesome. Fine, LeBron, we'll capitulate. We'll do what you want. And then internally, the Lakers are probably like, damn, the Miami Heat did like everything LeBron wanted, then he left them high and dry. Is he going to screw us? But this is 39-year-old LeBron who's 40 in December. Is there a world where as LeBron breaks down the, hey, can we get Redick as a coach? Yeah, sure, LeBron. Hey, can we draft my son? Yeah. LeBron says, well, I'm going to do you guys a solid. You hooked me up. I'm near the end. Instead of taking a max deal, can you just, I don't know, workshop it out for me? Hey, what would we look like if I took less than the max? Say instead of 55, 60 million, what if I took 40? What if I took 45 mil? Is there a world where you can present to me free agent options that we could land? Because listen, I don't trust any front offices. They screwed me in Cleveland. Everywhere I go in the league, front offices mess things up. So is there a world where you guys could say, hey, look, we can get DeMar DeRozan on the cheap. He wants to be in LA. He'll play for us. We could get Tobias Harris on the cheap as a 7th guy. There's a world where LeBron goes to the Lakers. Can you guys give me what I want? Redick and my son? And in return, you know what? Wink, wink. I'll take less than the max. And we can add a couple more guys in free agency. I don't know. Klay Thompson so far spent most of his summer out here in Los Angeles, out in the beach cities. Could we steal Klay from Steph Curry? Is that possible? Now, I know Klay wants all the money and all the years. Hey, Klay, come play with us in LA. Stick it to the Warriors. The LeBron influence is strong. I just wonder, LeBron's gotten everything he wants from the Lakers so far. Does he in exchange say, you know what, I'm 39. I don't need to play for the max. I'm still going to be a billionaire. Yeah, I'll take a little less. Can you tell me for sure who we're going to land and we can get right back on top? Because I'm just telling you, we may break it down later, maybe next week. The Western Conference, there is no dominant team. I don't know if you guys saw what happened in Denver.